War is hell, so it's understandable that an effective movie can be made mixing war and horror elements. Even beyond the visceral gore and carnage, the psychological toll war takes on someone is enough psychosis for plenty of horror yarn. But though there have been a few great mixes of genres of horror and war, Dog Soldiers, Overlord, and maybe World War Z come to mind, there really hasn't been many. While it doesn't highlight the combat as much, Burial deals with the horrors that precede World War II and the scars that stuck around long after. Let's battle it out with the new war horror hybrid, Burial. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. Burial is new on-demand, digital download, and in select theaters from IFC Midnight. It's directed and written by Ben Parker. At the tail end of World War II, Europe is in disarray and recovering from devastation. Much of the German populace has been led to believe that their leader has evaded capture and that the rumors of Adolf Hitler's death have been greatly exaggerated. But the truth is, Hitler's body was recovered from his secret bunker. Looking to have the ultimate trophy from the war, Stalin sends his troop of Russian soldiers deep behind enemy lines to retrieve Hitler's corpse and bring it back to Mother Russia. Meanwhile, the forests the soldiers are carting the crate through are teeming with former Nazis and the dreaded hunters known as the werewolves, who will stop at nothing to get a hold of the corpse themselves. While most war horror films tend to mix the supernatural with the military, Burial instead focuses on more psychological feelings of terror. Basically, it's a story about a group of people assigned to take a dead body from point A to point B and the struggles they run into along the way. Still, Burial leans heavily on the war aspect, and aside from some very morbid themes, it's mainly a very dark war drama. That doesn't mean it's not an effective movie. I just want folks to know what they're getting into if they take a chance with Burial. There are some supernatural aspects, I guess. There's a special gas the Nazis used to cause hallucinations, making the soldiers see twisted versions of the opposition they encounter on the battlefield. The werewolves mentioned are not the shape-shifting moonwalkers from Universal movies. They're hunters and trappers loyal to Hitler who wear coats of wolf's fur and know the thick forests more than anyone else. Their stealth and deadly weapons give them a fantastical quality, but they're just grizzled warriors. Burial starts very slow in the present day. It begins with a burglar breaking into an old woman's house, and then, after she subdues him, she tells him a story. The first 40 or 50 minutes feels like setup for the titanic battle that occurs during the latter half. Once the Russians are cornered and forced to fight the Nazis and the werewolf troopers, I found myself much more interested in the story, though I must admit my attention was waning leading up to that. The first half is a lot of walking through forests, conversing about the horrors of war, and explaining how, even though the war might be officially over, it never truly is for those who survive it. These aren't new concepts, and while the lines are spoken by talented actors, it still feels like well-tread territory is being covered. Still, the leads are pretty stellar in Burial. The Lodgers, Mosquito State, and the remake of Wrong Turns actress Charlotte Vega is very strong in the lead role of Russian soldier Brana Vasilyeva, who takes the assignment very seriously and knows the horrors of war firsthand. Her stubborn demeanor makes her one of the toughest of her troop, the rest of them not seeing a lot of the war action. But my favorite character is Tor, played by Barry Ward, who is just simply tough as nails. Tor takes on an insane amount of bodily harm, but still keeps on kicking Nazi ass. His role is a true highlight when it comes to the way he handled the action and gnarly torture. Unfortunately, though he is highlighted as a feature player in the story, Harry Potter's Malfoy, aka Tom Fenton, really doesn't stand out here. He plays a man defending his small village from the Nazis, but his role gets lost in the mix and really doesn't stand out compared to the roles realized by Vega and Ward. So while this is a bit slow in the first half, and there really isn't a lot of supernatural horror going on, Burial makes up for it with some very tactile and gritty war action in the latter half. The climax is bombastic, and while its message that the terror of war echo long after the last shot is fired might have been done before, Burial ends with a satisfying and powerful note nevertheless.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside